1:15 we should be done. Okay. All right. So before we start, I would like to find out from you, any of you, to share your ideas on your experience on the library management over the year. So what I'm trying to put across is that the library management training was held last 2 years to equip. Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
all
you.
hear me? Great,
We can hear you.
great. So I'm saying that before we begin, what were some of our highlights when it comes to the library management in our various schools? What were some of the challenges that we experienced? Just briefly, before we start, or if there were positives or anything that you think you can share. Maybe a librarian amongst us might learn a thing or two, so that it will not just be for me, but we are also building a community of librarians that are sharing ideas on how to promote literacy or the culture of reading in our various schools. So anyone can share, and we can start with that before we begin today's session. So I can see Sir Max. Sir Max, you are welcome. Okay. Any person, Mr. Evans, anything to share on the library management so far in your school, and anything that you like us to share or any challenges is welcomed. Come again.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Okay.
Your line is breaking, Mr. Edu. If you can adjust yourself.
Sorry.
Yes. So we are all, yes, Mr. Edu. Hello, Mr. Edu, can you? I think we've lost Mr. Edu there.
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah. Come again.
But if you can also hear me.
Okay, so Mr. Edu, your line is breaking. All right, so any other? So if you can pause for us, Mr. Edu, if in case you are able to get a more stable location, then we can continue with this discussion. Is there any other on the call that would like to share their experience so far in the library management in their various schools? All right. Madam Esther, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. Is there anything you would like to share with your experience that maybe the librarians on the call can learn? Maybe one positive or two positives, and maybe one challenge that we can all see how best we can um, resolve it before we start today's session.
Okay, with the library management so far, I can say that it has improved from previously. And then with the children coming to the library too has improved. Most of them come to borrow the books, go home, read, and then when they come back, they are able to read a portion out of it. And then looking at the younger ones, like KG class 1, sometimes they will come in and say they want to read. When you allow them, they pick a book and then they read the picture. So it's allow others to also come in. There were some that came, so they've made it a point that anytime they close, they will come and say they want to read. So we need to allow them also to have a feel of the reading so that it will improve their reading ability.
Great.
Hello.
Thank you. Madam Esther, your line. Can you reposition yourself? Oh, I
Okay.
think we lost.
So I was saying that with the management, it has improved from the previous one. And then the
Okay.
learning of books also. It has also helped the children in reading, such as the younger ones from KG class 1 upwards. And I was saying that because the children come for the book, send it home and go and read and bring it back. And they are able to read portion out of the book they have borrowed. And I was talking about the younger ones. When you take KG, they cannot read on their own. But what they normally do, they pick a book and then they will be doing picture reading.
Okay.
They're doing it in their own language. And when you listen to them, you realize that these are children who are ready to read. So from their time now, when they grow up, it will help in their reading ability.
Great, great, great. Thank you very much. But before you go, is there any challenge?
The challenge is not much. The only challenge I may say is some of the books are above the level of some of the children.
Oh, okay.
When you look at children from my own community, when you give them
Yeah.
a book, it's like the teen and then the fiction book, they feel that the book is so big for them to read.
Okay.
But sometimes when you encourage them, you get 2, 3 people to take and go and read them.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, thank you for sharing. If there's one thing I can say that we can um highlight from what Madam Esther has just said is that the younger ones are more they love more of the picture books. So if the children from the lower levels of our primary system come to us for books, we can start with those ones because it's more relatable. It's appealing to their immediate senses, which is their visual. Yes, so I think we can start from there as librarians. And it's indeed what she mentioned that one of the biggest challenge has to do with the book, some of the books, when children see these books, like the teen fiction and these novels, they have this perception that it is above them. So they should not take it or they should not pick it up. Yes, it's all dependent on the child and the level of development. Yes, and the class, the maturity, there are lots of factors. So sometimes you can notice that we have even children in class 6, children in, let's say, JHS, that ideally they should be going for some of these more mature books, but those books do not really appeal to them. So when we are able to even identify such children, we can still give them the picture books. Yes, for starters. Yes, because as we all know, children can be in the same class, but their understanding and their comprehension levels are different. Yes. So what appeals to student A might not appeal to student B, even though they're in the same class. So if you go ahead to share the same standard of book to that class, it might happen that there will be some of the children that will lose interest in reading because the content of the books is beyond their level. So as educators and as facilitators and librarians, I believe we should first know our students, know their learning levels, their capabilities, what they can and what they cannot do. Then we assign books that meet that learning needs to them. And in so doing, we can be in the same class, but we have specific group that specific books appeal to. So let's say maybe for 5 students, the could be maybe baby books, or let's say picture books. Then another section could be, let's say, non-fiction books. So we're in the same class, but the learning needs are varied and they are different. So in so doing, we are cultivating and we are pushing them to love reading. Those that will lean more towards the picture books, gradually you see them moving towards the more teen novels, that genre of books. So that gradually we build it up. But if we treat them like it's one class, so they're all supposed to at least be able to read this level of book, what will happen is it might be at the disadvantage of the rest of those who are not able to, their learning levels do not meet that particular book. Yeah, any other, before we move on to today's session, any other contribution?
Okay. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
I'm not a teacher. I'm a coordinator.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Who has been coordinating most of the schools.
Okay.
And looking at the management that we have,
Okay.
most of the time with when you go,
Yes.
some have created a separate room for the library.
Okay.
So for the new blocks that we have, the reserve one has been converted to the library, and they have arranged the books in the.
Looks like your line is breaking, sir.
The tables are. They write their names in.
Okay.
Then, aside that, I even went to some of the schools where the library, I would say the library assistant, in a way, in the learners how to keep books and keep them very well. So there's some of the things that I saw during my monitoring.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much for sharing. Yes, I really appreciate the time and the dedication that you have also put in this. The main goal of this project is to ensure that the children have access to the books so that we create a culture of reading in our various schools. And in so doing, what we are trying to do is that when this culture is stabilized in the various schools, it has its ripple effects, positive effects on the various subjects that are being taught in the school. And it will improve literacy, fluency, and all other speaking or reading skills in our various schools. So we are grateful that as a supervisor, you're also moving around to ensure that the right things are being done. To be very honest with you, in our end-line evaluation, there were schools that were really ensuring that the children have access to the books. And we are very grateful. And we are hoping that in this third phase, it will continue. Surely what happens is if we receive surpluses of books, what it means is that the schools that we have already supplied the books, they shall be receiving books as and when we receive them. So we are not done with the phase 1 and the phase 2 schools. That is why this meeting is a virtual one. When we receive more books, obviously the schools that are doing well, that are pushing, we shall be providing them with more books and more resources so that the children will have more access to the books. Thank you very much. So I think we've spent 35. The time is 12:35, so we are going to move on to today's session. So today's session is entitled The School Library and the School Librarian. The School Library and the School Librarian. All right. So we are moving. So Madam Esther, can you do us the honors by reading the objective for today's session? Madam Esther, are you around?
Yes.
End
of this session, we'll be able to describe purposes of a school library. 2, list the main roles and responsibility of the school librarian. 3, describe the key skills, knowledge, attitudes, and practice of a good school librarian. 4, understand personal professional development needs. 5, take up the position of a reading role model.
Thank you very much for this. Yes. So these are the objectives of our session for today. Okay. So this is a quote by the former US President Barack Obama. More than a building that houses books and data, the library has always been a window to a larger world. This is a statement by the former US President Barack Obama. Yeah, so it's a thought-provoking statement for us to really pause and reflect on the impact libraries have on children or on we as adults or the entire population. It's a window for opportunities for these young ones. Now, let's move further. So this is an open discussion, okay? What are the purposes of a school library? This is an open discussion. So let's do this for the next 2 minutes so that we continue. What are the purposes of a school library? So the floor is open now. What are the purposes of a school library? Madam ST, would you like to shed some light on this one? What are the purposes of a school library? Come again. Any other person?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Looking at the purpose of a school library, we are looking at the purposes, meaning we need to list a lot. Based on the adage or the quotation that President Barack Obama made, I can deduce that the school library is not just a room that we've kept a lot of books there.
Yes.
But
Yes.
rather,
you can continue.
It's a place that the learners can learn a lot of things, and it's going to open a larger world. That larger world, we are looking at knowledge acquisition. So in the library, the school library, aside learning the literature or the reading aspect, learners can also use that place as a means of research. As a place that they are going to have their research. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Mr. Edu, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Okay.
Yes. I can hear you, Mr. Edu.
Okay. Okay. So as I said, the school library
Yes. Your line is breaking, Mr. Edu.
is a place that the learners can use for. Yes, as I said, where I am, the internet is very bad. That is why it's happening that way.
Yes, yes. But now it's better, so you can continue.
Okay. And so as I said, aside the reading of the literature or the books that they have,
yes,
they can also do research at the school library.
Definitely.
Aside the research, where the school is organizing any reading festival or any indoor activity that has something to do with issues of academic work, like the play-based activities that we have, whether indoor activities, we can even use the library as a venue for the learners also to have those activities there. So if you look at the purpose, or even I would say the benefit of the library, I would say there are numerous that we can even mention. So this is some of the purpose why we should have libraries in our schools.
Thank you so much. You have actually highlighted the key core importance or components of the reason why we should have a school library in our various schools. So I'm going to move forward So according to the International Federation of Library Association, the school library serves two purposes. One is a moral purpose, which is making a difference to the lives of young people. And two, the educational purpose, which is improving teaching and learning for all. Yeah, so we need to know and acknowledge that the library is not just a building that houses books, but it is a hub for transformation because a lot happens in the library. Reading is the foundation of all learning. And we are where we are today is because we are able to read and write. So we can just imagine the potential the school libraries do have, our schools have, our children will have, when there is so much access to books in our various schools. That is one of the main difference. That is the key difference between a grade A student and maybe a weak student is the foundation, which is literacy. So if we are able to strengthen the school library, we are able to equip our school libraries with the resources, with our energy, and with our time, we shall be transforming generations of individuals that come in contact with us. So when we put it in that light, or we put it in that perspective, we have a profound appreciation for libraries in our various schools, and we don't see it as an additional, maybe, hurdle or additional challenge that confronts us. Also, the educational purpose for libraries that it improves teaching and learning for everyone. You see, this is a seed project, and we are starting. I just want us to imagine the next 5 years, the next 10 years, when this project gains a lot of roots and a lot of branches, the kind of transformation we are going to see in our schools and in our children, and even with us, because society is evolving, our schools are evolving, the project too is evolving. It will be that at a certain point, you might even be receiving African themed books. Anything is possible. So, and when all these things are happening, what it's doing is that it is improving our teaching and learning experience for all of us. Yes. So these are the two main purposes of our library. So the purpose of a school library, as we can see in the slide, is that it supports and enriches the curriculum to encourage learning, to stimulate creative thinking, to stimulate thinking and creativity, to promote a love of reading, to create community of readers, to support teaching. So these are some of the purposes for our school library that we have in our various schools. Then to move further, the school library. So this is also an open discussion, okay? So we are saying that which is the most important? Is it a library space stand on the left of the room? Okay, so this, is it the library space, the library books, or the librarian? So this is also an open discussion to the house. Which one do you think is the most important? Is it the library space, the library books, or the librarian? Any person who would love to share their ideas? Okay, so what I'll do is I'll run us through this, then later I'll come so that you can afford us some time to think about it. Okay, which one is most important? Is it the library space, the library books, or the librarian? Okay. Okay. The school librarian, open discussion. Do you agree with the statement? So this one will be an open discussion. So a library without a librarian is just a room of books. What do you think? Is it true, Madam Esther? A library without a librarian is just a room of books. Do you agree with this statement?
Yes, I agree because when the library with books and the librarian has a role to play, make
Yes.
sure books are being arranged well and then labeling them and those things. So if the books are only there and the children should come, they may not know what they may take and read. By the guidance of the librarian, they'll be able to find the right material to read.
Okay, okay, excellent submission. Any other person? A library,
Okay.
yes.
As the quotation will read, a library without a librarian is just a room of books. That one is true. In a sense that you can even visit some of the people's, you can come to some of our houses.
Yes.
We have a lot of books that we have packed in our study rooms. And in a way, we can't call that place to be a library because we have not assigned somebody to guide us on the best way to use the books that we have over there. But in the library, we need to get a librarian in a sense that, yes, we have the books. You may see fiction, you may see science, you may see general. Even, let me even put this one in before I will even proceed. Even in the well-developed area where they are using digital library, they still need a guide. So whether the person will do it virtually or will do it cascading, that's face-to-face, the librarian is very, very important in the library. And when we don't have a librarian to guide the learners or those who are coming there to read, then definitely that place can be called either a study room or a bookshop. That is what I can say.
Thank you very, very much, sir. Thank you. Any other, or we can continue? Any other submission? All right. So just as Madam Esther and Mr. Edu has just explained, what makes a library function is a librarian. Okay. So without a librarian, it's just a room filled with books. And this example is actually very common in some of our schools in Accra and South. Now, when we were rolling out the phase 3, which we are currently doing in 22 new schools, so we're doing the baseline evaluation. So we're visiting all the 22 schools to find out the needs. It's a form of a needs assessment to see the strengths, the weaknesses, and what the school need and all that. We realize that for some schools, they do have the library. But unfortunately, because there's no librarian, the place has been left dormant and it has transformed into a storeroom. So you can see 1 or 2 shelves there. You can see old books, but they are not being utilized. And a discussion with the head proved that they do not have anybody to manage it, and they don't know how to even manage it. So indirectly, that particular school, they do not have a library, a functioning library. It is now a store, how do you call it? It is now a storeroom. So without a librarian, it becomes difficult for us to utilize the books, for us to realize the efficiency of the books. So this also throws the importance of the school librarian in our faces, that the school librarian is very critical in ensuring that the project succeeds or the project thrives and that the children have access to the books. They are very crucial and very important. We can have a huge library like the BAM library, but without librarians in the library will be useless. It's just like our classrooms. Without the teachers, there is no teaching and learning. And without our head teachers, the administrative elements of our school experience will not be realized. So the librarian is the head of the library. The librarian is the leader of the library. The librarian directs. The librarian manages the library. So without the librarian, we don't have a library. Even if we have books, we have tables, we have shelves, indirectly, without the librarian, we don't have a library. Yes, so that is what this quotation is trying to put across. And that is why we are also holding this virtual training and also encouraging the librarians and the teachers of all these schools to increase their momentum and their efforts. And with them, the teachers and the librarians that we work with, we made it known to them that the purpose of this training is for the librarians and the teachers themselves to also retrain the students, the serious ones in every class, with basic library management skills and knowledge, so that they can take some of the burden the librarians or the teachers face in their day-to-day library management practices. So that in so doing, they are also building the capacity of these young ones. So if you are building capacity in class 2, by the time they get to class 5, these young ones can manage the libraries, and all that you'll be doing is to play a supervisory role. And should there be a transfer, maybe the librarian is transferred from school A to school B, there wouldn't be much of a knowledge gap. And that even the new one that comes, because they have been training for the teachers, for the younger ones, it becomes easier for the management of the library to be continued. So that is what we constantly tell them. So as we can see, this is a school librarian. This is Mama Africa from Tanzania. What does the picture say about her and her library? Any ideas? What do you see when you look at this particular frame or image? What can we see? Okay, so we can see from where I see, what I can see is that welcome our guests. So what it means is that in our various library, it should be welcoming. Just like the way when we enter church, no one tells us that this is a church. When we enter the cinema, no one tells us that this is a cinema. The same way, when someone enters our school library, no one should tell the person that this is, it should just the presence should just speak for itself, that this is a school library, this is an office, this is a classroom. Yeah, so it should be welcoming. The environment should be conducive, should be child friendly. Yes, so this is what our libraries should depict when we receive visitors or when the children come. Okay, so I'll skip this one. The roles and responsibilities, okay, of the school librarian. You are supporting pupils with reading and learning. We are opening and closing the library, explaining and enforcing the library rules, taking an inventory of stock, running reading activities for library classes, reading stories, managing the books, helping children and teachers find books, supporting teachers with resources and activities for the classroom, helping teachers use books in their teaching, creating a conducive library environment for reading, shelving the books, advocating for reading throughout the school and community, cataloging, ascensioning the books, keeping records of borrowed books, organizing books in clear and consistent ways, and keeping records of library attendance. These are some of the roles and responsibilities of the school librarian. So we looked at this is supposed to be a group work. So we are looking at the skills, the knowledge, attitudes, and practices. So when you look at this, the practical know-how, what you need to know about, then the attitude, the behaviors, and the practice required by a school librarian. Okay, so this, we are going to skip this one. But as a librarian, you need the skills, you need the knowledge, the attitude, and the practices. That's what it's trying to illustrate. Okay, we move on to this. Being a role model, it's very essential that as librarians, we are role models, okay? Being a reader frames us as reading teachers and supports us as we seek to apprentice younger readers, model our own love of reading, and create communities of readers within and beyond school. So it's very necessary that we ourselves we play role models for these younger ones because they look up to us. These children look up to us. So when they see us so passionate about reading, it gingers them to also be passionate about their own journey and their own reading initiative. Yeah, so we are being encouraged to play or be reading role models. Then, your memories of relearning to read. I'd like to pick your brain on this one. Okay, what are some of your favorite memories, like books as a child? Which book do you still remember that you have read? And why do that book still hold so much importance to you? Is there anyone who would like to share? Is there one particular book?
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm Dinah and Abochi.
Okay, Madam Dinah, you are welcome.
Thank you. Please, the book I
Yeah,
read,
yes,
the story book I read, Things Fall Apart.
yes.
Chinua Achebe's
Okay.
book. I love that book because of the simplicity, very picturesque, everything about it. You can memorize it. It's not difficult to read. Chinua Achebe chooses to use simple English in his writing, and he gives vivid description about events. So this make me love
Okay.
the book things fall apart.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your submission. Any other? For me,
Repeat the question again.
Yes, Mr. Edu.
Other question again.
Yes. Your favorite book, like when growing up, the book that you read and you were very, very happy or made you love reading, or a favorite book that you can never forget, especially when you were young.
Oh, okay. Red Lions versus Scorpions.
Come again?
Red Lions versus Scorpions. Wilbur
Oh,
JK.
okay. Okay.
It was a class 4 book.
All right.
It's that book that made me laugh how to read. And from that, they do were at the village. We didn't attend school at the cities.
Okay.
We were at that village, but we, in a way, made efforts to read every book that we'll lay our hands on. And even the story, the words in the story and everything, I can even recall most of them, and then the events within. So it's one story that I really read, and up to now, I have never forgotten anything in it.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Thank you very much for your submission. For me personally, the one book that I read that really initiated my passion for love for reading is The Gods Are Not to Blame by Olarotimi. What happened was when I read the book and I saw how unpredictable the whole story was, it really piqued my interest because most stories at that age that I had read were very simple, and you could also tell the beginning of that story. You could tell the end of the story from the beginning. Yes. So it's more of the child. The books I was reading has to do with hard work, had to do with being obedient to your parents, which were all good. But I think the Olarotimi one, it was a drama, actually. Yes, it's really broadened my mind and my understanding of literature, of arts, of reading. Then to top it up, I was so much into it that I even watched the adaptation, the movie adaptation of that particular story. Yes, so I watched the movie itself as well. So it gave me a deeper understanding to what the writer was trying to convey. So ever since I read and watched that particular movie and story, it still lingers in my mind and in my heart that this is one story that was so unpredictable, and it made me have so much joy because you are so eager to understand what happens next. Then the twist and turns, it's really inspiring. So for me personally, it's The Gods Are Not to Blame, written by Olarotimi. That's really sparked my interest in reading. Yes. Any other? Okay. So these are the 4 tips to being a reading role model. So be a reader yourself. Share books that you like. Model reading different text types. That is newspapers, novels, information books, and more. Model reading for different purposes. That is classroom, example, for pleasure, for research or project, for finding out the day's news. Yes, we need to be role models. Whether we like it or not, the students that are in our various classrooms, some of them look up to us. And if you are even able to transform one child, you are transforming generations. Yes. So let us share our passion for reading. It might not be the entire class that will be so enthusiastic about it, but there'll surely be one or two or three children that will be also passionate about it. And in so doing, we are gradually growing the culture of reading. And what happens is that it creates a ripple effect. Those children will also influence their friends. And before we realize, we are creating it. At the instance or at the moment, we might not be realizing the fruits of what we are doing, but give it time. We shall be noticing the fruits, and it's so rewarding that your children or your learners are doing well and are reading. So this brings the end to today's slide. Um, any question so far?
Okay. Mine is not a question, but oh, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Mine is not a question, but a contribution. Hello.
Yes, I'm listening, Mr. Edu.
Most of the
Yes.
time when we meet our teachers, we have been telling them that we are teachers, and as such, we impact knowledge. So as a teacher,
Yes.
you need not to eat sleep without reading a material that will, in a way, help you to teach in the classroom. So
Definitely.
yes, reading should be part of us as teachers. We may have other obligations and responsibilities, especially with our women. And we most often say some funny things that, yes, the woman need to cook and cook again. We'll cook in the afternoon and cook in the evening. But still, being a teacher, you should read a material. You need to upgrade your knowledge in whatever subjects that you are teaching. So that at least you, in a way, build your knowledge base. So we need to encourage ourselves. Though we are not some are not classroom teachers, but we need to,
Yes.
in a way, encourage ourselves to read every day before we sleep. That's just an addition that I want to give.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And there is a saying. I don't know whether we are aware of that saying. There's a saying that now when we talk about illiteracy in this day and age, it's not about someone who cannot read and write, but it's about someone who learns today and does not learn again. Okay, because the world is moving at a very fast pace, and we always need to update ourselves. We always need to learn. We always need to read so that we can feed ourselves. Then we can also share that knowledge with our children. Because sometimes what happens in the class is that we might have one or two students that are very, very, very sharp and smart, and they might be asking us certain questions that are very, very powerful. Okay, so as educators, as learners, as teachers as well, it's very necessary for us to always sharpen ourselves and always build an armor around us with knowledge so that we can always be able to feed our young ones with them. I'm going to run us through this one briefly, then we close. Okay, because yesterday most of us couldn't join. So I want to do this briefly so that we can close. So this is understanding users of the library. Okay. And the session objective is describe the different stages in the child's development. Then describe how reading skills build as children develop. Okay, so as we can see the different stages in a child's development, from the toddler to the child to the adolescent to one that has completed tertiary. We can see that there are different developmental stage, and each developmental stage has its unique learning needs. Okay, and the unique book that you are supposed to give this child, this people at these different developmental stages. Okay, so someone like a baby, the books we normally give babies are baby books, which have hard coverings, and the pages or the leaflets are also very hard. Okay, the reason being that is we want to expose written literature to children at that age so that gradually they grow with it. But we cannot just give them any other book. So one book that has been carefully designed for children or babies at that particular age is the baby book. So the baby book has hard covering because as young as that age, their gratification is mostly in their mouth. So you see them putting things in their mouth, they'll be salivating, their hands in their mouth, they'll be putting things in their mouth. So automatically, if you give them a book or anything, there's a high possibility that they put it in their mouth. So if that book has hard covering, what it means is that when they put this in their mouth, they will not end up swallowing it, or they will not end up defacing or damaging the book. So for these people and these people, we give them baby books, which have hard coverings and hard leaflets or pages. Then for these people, we normally give them the baby books, the ones that, we normally give them the picture books. Later in the this thing, you see all of them. These are books with loads of pictures with small text. And normally the pages are around 32 pages. So the pictures is appealing to their senses at that age. They are more moved by what they see. You see, so this level has more of picture. Sometimes this level too has picture because of maybe the learning or the developmental stage. But from this level going, it's more of the graded books, the the fiction books, this level onwards. Okay, so we look at each level, the child's level, developmental level, then we assign a particular book to that particular child. So that in so doing, we do not create a system where we give books to children where the books is beyond them, and that even dampens their passion for reading, even at a longer period of time. So stages in the child's development. Why is it important to understand the stages in the child's development? So we say that children make use of books differently at different stages. They have different needs at different stages. They should develop different skills at each stage. So each stage, they're supposed to develop certain specific skills so that gradually they mature to become the fluent readers who read adult fiction books and teen novels. The reason why we have children in JHS who do not fancy this category of books is because they haven't developed certain reading skills at certain ages. So you giving them that book is like you are jumping, you are putting a class 1 child in SS1 classroom. They will not feel comfortable, and two, it's impossible for them to thrive there. And also, we can not put a child that is, or someone that is, let's say, class 6 that has not gone through these phases, we cannot give that person a tin of a book, even though maybe that child qualifies to hit that, to read that book, because that child has not acquired those developmental skills set yet. So I think for us as librarians and as teachers and as facilitators, if we are able to identify such students who are at the right age to read certain books, but are not able to read those books, then we need to identify that there is a certain knowledge gap and skill that the child has not, that particular teenager has not acquired in his formative years. So because of that, at that level, they are not able to take that book to read. Yes, so if we have that in mind, when we meet students of such ages or stages, and we see that they can't read those books, then we go down and get them the picture books. Then we start at the small level so that gradually they grow to become good readers. If librarians understand these stages, they will have the right expectation, offer appropriate reading material, and support them to progress their reading effectively. Okay. Then stages in the child's development. So we have pre-readers, we have early readers, we have developing readers, then we have fluent readers. So for the pre-readers, which are the babies, they will enjoy looking at a book with a familiar person, will show interest in handling books and chewing them if very young, may not yet hold books or turn pages correctly, will point at pages and pictures, will copy sounds, words, or phrases from familiar stories, may have favorite stories or rhymes or jingles. That is why it is so essential that we start this process when they are young. So even as teachers, maybe in our personal lives, when we have children or we have nieces or we have nephews at that young age, we do not wait till they are in class 1 before we introduce them to books. We start at a young age so that by the time they get to the class 1, they have acquired a lot of skills. That we even have class 1s and 2s that are reading and graded books. Yes, this is how they all started. And this is what we want to cultivate. Okay, so even in our personal lives, we can also do this. Then these are the brains of babies. Babies are naturally sociable and love to communicate. The early years are important in shaping their future development. 75% of their brain development happens during the first 3 years, and they need stimulus and input to help this. Sharing books, talking, and singing are important ways of doing this. We shall close very soon. Then we have early readers. They listen to and join in with stories, rhymes, or poems. Recognize familiar words such as their own name. Look at books independently as well as with an adult. Know that print carries meaning and read from left to right and top to bottom. Start to link sounds to letters and begin to read words and simple sentences. Then the third group is begin to read independently, that's developing readers. Explore a wider range of books, can sound out unfamiliar words, have built a sight vocabulary, begin to read with expression. Then we have begin can find simple information from books. Then the fluent readers, which is our last one, they are able to read longer, more complex texts that may include chapters, can read a wider range of books and texts with confidence, read with fluency, expression, and understanding, have an understanding of textual features and structure, may read for research purposes, and fluent readers who are older may be interested in stories about relationships and teenage themes. So that brings an end to this session and an end to today's session. I'm very grateful that we have been able to join today's session. God willing, on Monday, we shall continue. And this is the time for us to ask questions or seek clarity. So the floor is open for questions now, because we are ending today's session.
You can.
Yes, Madam Dinah.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. Your submission, please.